I don't like her doing that with the phone. Because they weren't, because not even that, they were talking about a job. So it was a professional phone call. Why are you, like, like, if you were talking to a publicist, and I just go, hey, stop talking to him after 5. It's like, what is this? Like, I don't know. That irritates me to no end. I don't like it.
Interesting. I don't even know where we are on the story. Are we on the second page yet?
Yeah, we're almost, and that they're, to stop, and all he was doing was coddling my husband and the others, and that they're adults. If they're worried about lunchtime, they take care of it themselves instead of depending it on someone else. I do want to say before I go on to the last of the second page, if you've never been a delivery person, if it is not a clear house, if it is not a clear apartment, you get lost.
Yeah.
It is very easy to get lost because people will put in wrong addresses and wrong areas, and then they're like, oh, well, you couldn't get to it? It's like, no, this is your job. What do you mean? Building number 3. What? So I understand her grievances, but I'm at the same time, like, if you've never, like, done that, you don't know how frustrating that can be. In terms of that. Okay, so this screenshot.
Which paragraph are you on?
I'm on the last one, but I thought the second picture would be more, and it's just a paragraph. Okay.
We argued about it and still haven't resolved the issue when he left for the job yesterday.
Yesterday afternoon, I dropped my kids off with my parents, and I was venting to them about it. Both of my parents told me that the easiest solution would be just to do it myself, or let him keep paying because it's one small thing to do to make his job easier, then reminded me about how they packed each other's lunches whenever one of them had to stay home with us while growing up. Am I the asshole? So, yeah, so on Reddit on Wiki, this is the first comment, is that doesn't sound like a servant to me. If she's getting paid $45 a week from several coworkers to make food, she's probably making a profit. OP is fine if he pays for a restaurant, but not fine if he pays for a work colleague's wife to cook. Yeah, I think she's the asshole. I would say she's the asshole. Here's the deal. Like, he's not hurting anyone. Okay? Like, he's not hurting anyone, and he's basically, like, what, do you want him to, like, like, I would be upset if he spent that on food, on a takeout. Like, like, just, I don't know why she's mad when it's someone else cooking. That doesn't make sense to me, because if you're not willing to make it, you can't be upset where he's getting it.
Yo, I'd be saying. I personally don't see why it matters where he's getting his lunch from. This isn't any different than him spending $45 on fast food all week or providing his own lunch based on OP standards. Sounds like he got food with better quality for a good price and didn't stress his wife out by asking her for lunch. Seems like OP's jealous.
Yeah, I think, what's interesting is I think that he would, or she would be okay if it was the husband bringing it, or if the husband was going to a bar, or not a bar, but like a restaurant during lunch hour. But the minute she heard wife, she, like, the alarm bells, like, ranged in her head. And, because normally when you hear these stories, the wife is being, the coworker's wife is being a little too friendly. And it is found out that the wife has a crush on the spouse. And so that shit does need to be, like, nipped in the bud. But here, that's not the case. She's getting paid $45 from several coworkers. She's making bank. She's making a profit. Like...
Yeah.
This isn't, she wants to fuck your husband. This is, this is a business now. Like... And this is, like, I think it's, like, $45 a day for different different people. That's a lot of money from several different others. You know? Because also, what I think is also interesting and weird is that they haven't, she's like, I refuse to do it myself. He's a grown man. It's like, okay, then buy him meal tickets. Or meal kits. There's Factor. There's fucking, HelloFresh. There's, I don't know, Epic Meals. You know, like, figure out something. You know, like, there's plenty of meal kits out there for you if you cannot do it yourself, you know, like, that's something to me that is very
weird that she... Ooh, look at this story. This one's weird.
Okay.
Let's see. Hang on. Am I the asshole for laughing when my son came home from meeting his girlfriend's parents because he chose to behave like he does at home? And then, of course, the top comment, by the way, real quick, spoiler alert. I know you don't like to get to it right away, but I do. Not the asshole. How old is your son? Doesn't matter either way. There are times for this behavior. Dinner in a restaurant is not one of those times. Girlfriend did not overreact. Hopefully he learns a valuable lesson from this.
Oh, and which one?
Incompatibility because let my boy burp. No, but, I mean, you know, whatever. But, like, my son burps a lot while eating. I've tried telling him multiple times that it is rude. I told him to slow down so he doesn't swallow air with his food. I've told him that it is disgusting. My wife will instantly jump in to defend him. Okay, that's a weird one. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting, like, both parents to be a little parental, you know?
Yeah.
She will say that's just the way he is and that it's not his fault. The thing is, he can control himself when I remind him. He just chooses not to. He just went on a date with his girlfriend last night, and she tore him a new asshole. It was his first time meeting her parents since they live in another city.
Oh my god, I remember this one. Hold on. Yes, keep going.
Okay. They went out to a fancy restaurant. Let me explode these zombies real quick. Here we go. All right. Went out to a fancy restaurant, and he burped all the way through supper. He came home almost in tears from her chewing him out for behavior like a jackass in front of her family. I heard him telling my wife about it, and I laughed. Ooh. She asked what was so funny, and I reminded them both that I had tried dozens of times, let's see, and if not tried hundreds of times to teach him table manners, and he rejected them, and she protected him. I said that now he is a grown man, and he had to learn the hard way. They both think she overreacted, that I'm the asshole for being amused by this experience. I love everyone in this situation right now. Y'all are so fucked already. So, like, yeah, I mean, like, look, right, okay. Obviously, like, we live in a world, for better or for worse, of, like, social norms and, you know, etiquette, and, like, burping falls in the red bag and not the green bag, and, you know, red bucket, not the blue bucket, and, you know, obviously, like, and like, of course, like, you know, like, women are going to be way more, although, which is weird that the mom, hang on, let's see,
I'm trying.
So, like, look, not everyone, to put it in a simpler way, not everyone is, you know, going to be preordained to like your burping. And, you know, what sucks is, like, you know, I wish things were communicated more in a more of a boundary negotiation kind of way, where it's all like, hey, don't burp around me because I don't like that, you know? But the reality is, of course, is, like, a lot of people, you know, communicate normatively, where they're like, hey, don't burp because that's disgusting, you know? And, yeah, I mean, kid, obviously, I mean, hey, look, you know, I mean, you know, like, you have to understand, like, you know, and not to OP, but to his son. It's like, look, young man, like, you know, if you want to continue on burping while eating, find a girl who does that and who's into that. And, because it's not her, it's not the girl that you just went on a date with, right? It is not her. And on the flip side, if you want girls like that, and if you want to be more accessible and you want to have more access to women, cut back on the burping. Easy, you know?
Yeah,
and so the dad's in the right. OP's not the asshole.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, my also thing is like, for me, in terms of here's the deal: you're in a fancy restaurant, all right? He is a grown man. He has to sit there and look around and go, okay, if we were at Outback, or if we were at McDonald's, or, like, you know, like any other less formal restaurant, he could burp. It would be funny. whatever. But you are in a restaurant that probably would kick you out for like, at that point you
what
have.
What do they mean by fancy? Like Olive Garden? Like.
Well, I assume it's a high, like melting pot. Like if you burped at melting pot, like.
Well, that's what I mean. No, come on. That's dishonest. Like, of course, it is social norm, right? Like, it is like, hey, this is the sort of understood presumptive etiquette that you behave a certain cotillion way when you're at a fancy restaurant.
Well, no, right? But also, I mean, if you want to classify it in a weird way as that, yes. But I assume, like, I view common decency as something that, like, you have been told time and time again to watch where you burp. Because may not be. So you have been told that by your dad. Your girlfriend, this was important to her. And you decided that it was okay to burp and make an ass out of yourself and out of your girlfriend at a restaurant. At that point, it is no longer you're not flying in the face of social norms. You're being an ass. And then you're crying to your mom because your mom sat there and enabled this behavior to where it got to this point. So, like, while usually
it was important to the girlfriend that he not do that. His dad has told him before that some people won't appreciate that.
And
he did it.
He did it.
His girlfriend was a force of nature on his ass. So
and I believe in the story she told.
I understand that synopsis.
But I believe also in the story she was like, "Hey, can you not burp? Like this is an important
because did she tell him like not to do that like prior to that?
I'm pretty sure she did.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I'm pretty sure she did. I assume she did if it's not in the post, or it might be in the post. I can't remember. But it's like because then he goes and he cries to his mom, and it's so interesting because I feel like this is where a lot of incel behavior really like sprouts from, because they can go cry to the parent that like facilitates it, and such. And so it's one of those things to me where like usually I'm like,
sorry, I'm not recording. Are you recording now?
Oh, I'm a little recording, but I can pause real quick.
I have to call someone. Hang on.
Who do you?
Thanks, Howie.
Oh, okay, hold on. I get to send
you. Xers are bad with technology, so they should just hurry up and get dementia already.
I know, right? More dementia for the boomers. Let's go. I guarantee you, I'm on several like NSA things where they're like, she keeps saying these things. We need to watch her. No. One of the things I think it's so interesting, is like it's always interesting to see like the effects of coddling. And I don't mean coddling and what boomers say coddling is, because boomers identify coddling as basic attention, love. But I mean coddling in a way that will abnormally affect, because unfortunately we do have these social norms and these social things, and these stuff, and while I think burping is fine. I think if you do it in a funny way, I think if it's also, you have to know your audience. Like,
I'm bigger on that. Like, I think that should be the takeaway, but that's obviously not your takeaway. And
no. I mean, no, it is.
Because, like, I feel like he should absolutely, he's made his bed, he lies in it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, look, like, you burped, the family and the girl didn't like it to any stretch of the imagination, so it's like, all right, like, thanks for playing, get the heck out, Like, it shouldn't. That should be kind of what it is,
No, and I do think that. I'm just saying in terms of, like, you wouldn't burp in front of my dad unless my dad had burped first, and my dad, for as long as I've known him, has never burped. So, like,
right.
So it's like you wouldn't do that.
And here's the thing too. I'm assuming that it's like a full-on belch. It's one thing to like, it's one thing to like, like put your hand over your mouth or kind of to the side and then say, "Excuse me," which is I think what most people do like a lot of the time. Right? Most people actually do burp, but they're like they go to the side, they cover their mouth, and they go, "Oh, excuse me."
Yeah, right? And like most of it,
I'm assuming he full on is like ripping it.
Well, right? and I assume too that like usually people understand if it's uncontrollable, where you're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, like I couldn't stop it." And people are like, okay, that's, like, whatever. But it's like, one of the things to me is like, and I honestly, the OP is not the asshole. I do think that the mom and the son are, because you have to know your audience. And if you are in a setting, and this is less, to me, that's why I keep saying not social normancy, because I'm kind of operating off of the know your audience thing. But if you are in a setting, right, that like you wouldn't belch in front of like William and Kate in the British royal family. You would sit there and go, I'm so sorry, I need to go to the bathroom because I need to burp. Or you cover your, like, there are certain things where you have to know, and in terms of like know your audience. And if you're in a setting where you are meeting the parents for the first time, not like, you know, with my parents, because my parents are divorced, but you're meeting both parents at the exact same time, and it's a very new, it's a impression that may last. And you are going to a fancy setting, you are meeting the parents, and I'm assuming, and this is me assuming, right, that she had been like, hey, this is really important. Like, I need you to not do this. And he, because he's been, you know, the mom has gone, shh, don't listen to your idiot father. You can burp when you want. Looked at her and go, of course, honey, I won't burp. And then let out the loudest belch, you know, like, and it's like, at that, and then he goes and he cries. Because honestly, if I was the girlfriend, I would have been like, call your mom and ask her to pick you up. Because I need like a little room, and I might crash this car. Like, I might be so mad that, because it was like, he took a thing that was so important to her, and he demolished it by burping. And like,
yeah,
it's one of those things where it's like, if it had been something important to him, and she went, oh, I have to go change my pad, or like, or she burped, he wouldn't find that funny. So this is where like coddling in this degree really hurts the